What's up, guys? It's Blackjack Buck. Today, I'm going to take you guys through the process of, well, first, if you didn't know, I like to make things out of recycled skateboards. And I'm not the only one. And I know there's a lot of people out there that do that. So what I'm going to do is explain why these things, when you buy something, no matter how small, out of recycled skateboards, I'm going to explain to you why people are going to probably charge an amount where you're like, whoa, really? Just for this thing made out of recycled wood? Check it out. There's a lot more that goes to it than just making things out of skateboards, okay? The first thing is, you can't just go to fucking Home Depot and buy a fucking block or a sheet of sand, fucking plywood, a 4x8 sheet of recycled skateboard material. You can't just go buy a bunch of fucking broken skateboards from Home Depot. You gotta look and you gotta find them. And not everybody's gonna want to give them to just anybody, especially skateboarders, because a lot of skateboarders save their old boards because they mean something to them, or they have their own plans to make something out of them at some point. So, the accumulation of the boards is the first thing that is very important to note. I'm going to show you my collection. So, yeah, all those, another stack. This is all scrap shit, which, dang, I could totally use this right now for what I'm doing. And, we're going to go through the rest of the process, too. I'm going to take a couple of these. Get the light on here for you. But see, the thing is, not all of these are usable in the same way because some of them are broken in half. Some of them are cracked. You can't use certain parts of them. You have to kind of be a little selective at times. So it's really difficult. And so is that big bin. That is full of freaking scraps. So, yes, the thing is that that it's really hard to accumulate these, number one. Next, we're going to go through the process of how it goes from that or that to that, because it's important to know what for when you are looking at maybe buying something made out of recycled boards and say, whoa, that costs a lot. Okay, so another thing about recycled skateboards is that look at the layers, okay? This one has a top layer that is black, I think. The top layer is black, and then it's got one other layer of color. This is all going to be natural. So you see those beautiful pieces with all kinds of cool colors in there. Dude, those boards are getting harder and harder to come by, at least in my opinion. This one's got black, then orange, and then nothing. So, not like super poppy or exciting colors in a lot of these boards, so the more colors it has, obviously. Oh, this is a good board. This is my board from Barcelona last year. So this one's got, I actually bought this one specifically because it had at least, I try to buy boards with 3 layers of color in there because I know I'm going to reuse them later. So this one's got a little orange, green, blue, green, and a brown. So we're going to take that one. And all I'm doing here, guys, is gathering up some boards to make some cool shit out of. then this one, psh, yeah, see, I think I cut that piece too short, so I don't even know if that's gonna work, but maybe it's possible. I could take this, and then that one doesn't really have shit. It's just regular and then one layer. So you look at it like this, it's like, huh, maybe that's not gonna be the most exciting looking board ever. Plus, this one had this weird, like a whole little bottom piece glued to it. So this shit just fucks your sander up. And you run through a lot of sandpaper, because yeah, that's the next step after we get the grip tape off of all this, is sanding all of this. Ooh, looky, I got a goodie. Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some pimping down. Here we go. Oh man, see? Look at those colors, but that thing's broken in half, and I need that middle part of the board. So we're gonna use these though. These are decent. We got the Amigos deck from Barcelona, from Spain. And then this, I don't know what the fuck that is, but... All right, y'all, so we got the boards. And you know what? Here's another thing. It's different for everybody. Every woodworker or every person that's making this shit. Some people have had a different life, different upbringing. Maybe they got lucky. Maybe their parents are fucking carpenters, been woodworking for fucking 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they've got a whole shop and a business and all this machinery and equipment to use. Some of us have just like totally kind of tried to do all this stuff on our own and are self-taught, you know, maybe didn't have a dad or someone to teach us how to do all this shit. And I hope you can hear me all right, because what I'm saying is important, because people will send shit to me that's like some guy making something out of skateboards and they're like, oh, you should totally do this. I'm like, well, take a look at the shit that this guy's using. He's got fucking tens of thousands of dollars worth of super high quality fucking equipment. I don't have any of that shit. I don't have a shop. This is my fucking house right here, you know? And people, I don't think, really consider that when they send, oh yeah, you should make some of this. You should make some fucking big ass coffee tables. You just make a bunch of those and sell the shit out of them. Yeah, if you knew how accumulating skateboards worked, you would know that would, like, one table would probably use half of my fucking boards. I don't know where these other people get their fucking boards from, but here in Durango, Colorado, there ain't a whole lot of people skateboarding and throwing their old fucking boards away, you know? And luckily I got some connections up in Denver, and I can go out up there and you know, usually come back with a pretty good stack of boards. Decent, at least a couple, but shit, you know, like, dude, it's different for everybody. So that's one thing to keep in mind too. And not everybody has all these fucking fancy high-tech fucking tools, dude, because I don't have money for that shit. And I don't have a place to put that shit, even if I did have money. So anyway, we're on our way back to where I'm staying. And we got some boards. Next thing we're gonna do is get the grip tape off of these boards. But you'll never fucking cross me now, 'cause I would fucking fail. So here's the deal. What we're hoping to accomplish, or what we're gonna do, we're not hoping for anything, we're gonna do it. We gotta go from that to something like that, okay? Now, note, that's gonna take a couple hours to get all the grip tape off, then to sand both sides of the board, to cut the nose and the tail off, because if again, if I had a bunch of expensive shit or some kind of a place to have my tools and things, my own shop, let's say, and I had a hydraulic press, then I could just leave all of that shit just like it is. And if I had a bandsaw, a big ass bandsaw that's like a $10,000 bandsaw, then I could leave it as it is, and I could cut a piece to make it so that it would fit flat in the press. But I don't have any of that. So after I peel the grip tape off and cut the nose and tail off and sand both sides of the decks, peel the stickers off and get it back to its original, its natural state without this clear finish that it has on there. Then we're gonna glue it, put it in clamps, which takes about 24 hours before you can do anything with it. It's gonna come out. This was a whole, you know, this is just one part that was here. I used the rest, but this is what it's gonna look like. There you go, you got your fascinating colors. This had to get a greater length on there, so that's why there's a gap in there. So the end result, what I'm making is picture frames. It's gonna come out something like this. And you notice my my joinery is not perfect. Well, that's because I don't have a lot of different things that would make it more perfect. And if you notice, when we look at these boards, not only do they curve like that, but they also curve that way too. Like this, and like this, and like this. So you're trying to get a curved piece of wood straight. Have you ever tried to build anything out of Home Depot lumber? Then you know what I'm talking about. You try to make a Home Depot fucking 2x4 straight. Have you ever tried to do that? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but check it out. It's not easy. And if you don't have these pieces when they're like this, perfectly squared, which this one probably even isn't, even though it probably looks like it is, then when you cut those 45-degree angles and you try and put them together, dude, sometimes one end is a little thinner, a little thicker, and then it goes like this. And then all of a sudden your fucking joints don't fit together. So here we go. Part of me feels like I'm making this video way too complicated and making it way more than it needs to be, but it's the reality of it, and that all of this shit that's going into it is all part of it. Though making the video is not. This is extra for you, for your information, so you know why you're paying so much for a recycled skateboard product. Cool. Now it's time to start the real work. Sorry, I know I must be boring all of you to death with the amount of information I'm giving you, but yep, you can see here, taking off the grip tape with a heat gun, painter's heat gun. I don't use a blow dryer. Some people do. I don't know. I've never tried it. I don't have a blow dryer, so I'm not going to go buy one just for that. And a wood chisel just to get it started. Sometimes they come off nice and easy. Sometimes they don't. Thank you. Okay. I don't know what is going on with these boards, but it's probably because I'm trying to explain how difficult and time consuming it is to do this, that all of these magically happen to just come right off. Maybe it's a dry climate and the fact that they've been sitting in the shed for several months, but dude, that never freaking happens. I never get 10 boards degripped that fast. So you've witnessed a miracle here on this channel. Make sure you follow and subscribe for more miracles. All right, the next step, we're gonna cut the nose and the tail off of all these things, or wherever it's not broken to, or somewhere around, you know, as much as we can get out of it, because we can't always choose how much you get out of a board. All right, so we got everything chopped up. The noses, the tails, these pieces too. You can get some cool uses out of those. Layering those up together and then, you know, run it through the table saw, regular old shit. The noses, I got stuff that I use them for. And these obviously will be our main pieces. So these are a little bit wider boards than the other ones, but it's possible maybe this one might go well with that. Yeah, cool. We can get some good pieces out of that. We'll continue on. Now it's time to sand all these things. And I'm gonna put my phone away for this one because, or maybe I'll figure it out. Zoom in or something. The dust gets in the fucking microphone and it ruins my phone, so yeah. All right, so next we got our sets of boards, and unfortunately I only have enough clamps to do one set at a time. So we're gonna start with this one because this is a 4-stack. And we're gonna put a shit ton of that glue on there and every single one of those clamps. And now we're all clamped up, all glued up, clamped up. And we're gonna give that a little over a day to dry. I'm gonna hope that it's good enough to do what we need to do. And so then, after that, we'll cut them. They'll turn into long strips like this, which you have to try to make square. And then we cut these. The 45-degree angles. 2 45-degree angles makes 90 degrees, if you didn't know that. And then we gotta run it through the table saw to get this groove. This is where the glass and the backing frame, the backing piece will sit. And then we'll put some little twisty things that kind of do that and lock the backing and the glass into place. And then we will put then we will finish it with tabletop epoxy resin. And then we'll try and fucking sell them. Now you know why, if you buy something from Recycled Skateboards, you might be questioning the price and wondering why it's rather expensive. It should be, because it's a long fucking process. And it took a lot of us a lot of time, whether learning from others or teaching ourselves how to do it, how to do this stuff, you know? And you're not paying for you're paying for the product, yes, but you're also paying the person that's making it. I know, we're not all fucking Amazon, Temu, whatever bullshit. Sometimes you gotta pay a little bit more for a nice handmade product, and that's the way it should be. But what do I know? I'm just a fucking carpenter. Okay guys, we're back in the lab. It's been about 36 hours of letting this glue dry. So we're gonna take the clamps off. We're gonna glue up the next pieces. All right, so we're all glued up, clamped up. That's the next round. So another 24 hours for that to dry. And this is the other one. We've got some cool layers of color in there. We'll get this thing all cleaned up. And yeah, hopefully we can get at least a couple good pieces. I don't like that, but maybe we can, oh well. We'll cut it, make it all nice and straight, and get some good pieces out of it. Hopefully, I don't know, we can get maybe 3-4 frames out of here. We're making picture frames, so yeah, hopefully we can get at least like 3 out of here, but kind of short pieces, so we'll see how it goes. All right guys, we went to the tool storage. We got the surface planer. This thing, good God, dude, I don't even know. So bro, it's like fucking 50 pounds. So I gotta put this down. But this is the fun part. Maybe I can get it with one hand. Holy crap, dude. Alright guys, so not only did we slice my finger open, that's pretty fun. There it is. Yeah. Good stuff. We got this mostly flat, as you can see. It looks curved because of the colors. This top part, this bottom board here, I don't know. Apparently, I thought it only had one layer of like fiberglass, fiber. I don't know, it's got some other shit and it is not happening. It's not cutting. So we're gonna run this through the saw and then we're just gonna slice that whole freaking layer off because ain't working out. Not working for me. So yeah, next step is the table saw. Alright, so done with the cutting, running through the table saw. We got a bunch of pieces here. These are 3/4 inch thick, and I thought I'd try to see if we could go a little thinner on some of these. So these are like 1/2 inch. I think think it should work. We're gonna find out for sure. It's very windy too. I'm getting shit all in my eyes. This is bullshit. Alright guys, you can see here we got some serious wind kicking up. So being that this is my tripod, and it only goes a little ways, it's not very sturdy for the wind. So I'm not gonna film this part. Alright guys, so after a long, probably shit, 2-3 hours of cutting, these miter cuts, or beveled, whatever the shit you want to call it. I'm just a guy that has a hobby. Cut these 45-degree angles on all these. We got 8 frames worth, 8 4x6. Well, they're longer than that, but they hold a 4x6 picture. Out of those 4 boards we glued and chopped down earlier. So yeah, dude, that's a good deal. We still got a lot of work to do though. Now I want to talk about some of the dangers of doing this. So basically we need to run this piece through the table saw like that and cut a 1/4 inch up halfway through this board. Well, you want to see the problem with that is that this is called a throat plate, and you see the problem is this piece is as wide as the throat plate, and that little piece right here, that's all I got to ride on, bruh. That's all I freaking got to ride on. So if I fuck this up, this is gonna get caught in there. Probably not gonna rip my finger off, but it's possible. It could fucking shoot out, stab me in the fucking eye, poke an eye out. You know what I mean? There's a lot of risk, a lot of safety risks. You can't just be doing OSHA shit. You know what I mean? Fucking nothing would ever get done if people abided by OSHA's rules. All right, guys. Well, that was kind of sketchy. Probably at least 6 pieces get caught by the blade and pop off and fly out. One hit me in the hand, bleeding a little bit. So, but we got all the pieces, that little notch cut out of there. That's where the picture frame's gonna sit. I hope to God it's deep enough and good enough. I follow the same measurements every time I make these, so, but anything is possible in woodworking. Could get fucked over and they're all wrong and doesn't fit. So we're covered in sawdust, and we're gonna get a quick little pardon me. We're gonna get a quick little blow job going on. All right, next step, we're gluing these sons of bitches up. It's gonna take a really long time and a lot of glue and a lot of patience and painter's tape. And can't use clamps because the 90-degree angle clamps, earlier I called them 45-degree angle clamps, but they're 90-degree angle clamps. The 2 45s make a 90. So anyway, they're too big to put all 4 on one frame at the same time. And even if they weren't, I only have one set of 4 and they cost about $15 each. So, you know, that'd be about 60 bucks times, 7 times 6 is 30, $300 for a couple of fucking clamps. So, you know, there's trade-offs, and these things take time, because I'm not fucking spending $300 on a bunch of fucking clamps. All right, now, so sometimes I use this tactic, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just use it for a few minutes But this time, because these big 45-degree angle clamps, you can only do one of these at a time because they won't fit here, 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 and here. So I use a method where I use painter's tape, and I line the pieces up on the tape, and then I put the glue in the joints, and then I fold it and I tape it around, and it's usually strong enough to hold it together until the glue's dry, which takes about 24 hours before you can stress the joints. So even though we got the boards, all that stuff happened, now we're at this stage, still got to clean this shit up. Now, I'm not very happy. This is okay. It's not bad. I'm not very happy with this. That's okay. On this front side, this is the front. So once I sand it, maybe it'll look a little better. But I always worry about just straight up clamping or gluing these joints. So that's why I do a clear coat of epoxy around and cover it all with that, because that'll act like a great bond and it'll be very hard to break that. Now, the really hard part is lining these veneers up, these lines, getting them to line up. And you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's slightly off, sometimes the colors are different, because as you can see here, we got different colors there. And sometimes you don't have enough material when you do longer pieces. Like here, this is all from the boards from this. So I needed to do 2 decks, here to here, here to here, then 2 here in the middle to achieve this length, because the only other way to get that length is by using the whole board and having that nice big expensive bandsaw I was talking about. Then I could just, wouldn't matter that the nose and the tail are still on there. It would give me the length I need. But because I don't have that, I have to do like this. And so here we go, you know, a little excess glue. We'll clean that up, and then we'll get rolling on the rest. But I needed to get these out of the clamps because I need to use these clamps for when I take the grip tape off of those. All right, guys, we got all these pieces freaking taped off. The reason we're doing this is because A, it's gonna help hold everything together a lot better, and B, we had to tape because we're gonna do like this. We're gonna sand this and clean it up on these corners and stuff, but we're gonna set it like this. We're gonna cover it in epoxy, and then that stuff's gonna drip, and when it hits down to these edges, it's gonna roll over. It's gonna roll and make little drips like that here. It's gonna dry, but when we do this, then we can just peel the tape off and doesn't affect it much. So that's next. So I'm at my family's cabin, and I needed to set something up. So I set up this table with some plastic, but I needed something to keep these frames up in the air, and so they're not sitting on the plastic, because what happens then, the epoxy runs, it's all over the plastic, and then it dries in one piece, and then you gotta spend a lot more time cutting things off. So I got these things, didn't have time to like cut a bunch of pieces of wood or something, so I put a bunch of little screws in here, so it's all elevated. Nothing should be touching any of the plastic. We're gonna use super clear liquid glass, I don't know, super clear tabletop resin. We're just gonna get after it, and it's a pain in the ass, but we're gonna do it. All right, well, they don't always come out perfect, but here we go. We made a fucking big mess with the epoxy. So now we're gonna give all this about 24 hours to dry. Then we're gonna go through and take the tape off and clean up all the edges. And then we gotta cut the glass or acrylic glass replacement that I use. And then we gotta cut the backing piece. And then we gotta go and buy fucking little things so it can hang. Then we gotta put those on. So we still got a ways to go. This is not home stretch by any means. All right, guys, as you can see now, we've got these all epoxied up, beautiful shine to them. It's gonna help hold everything together. The unfortunate thing is we still have more work to do, because as you see, like we said, that epoxy is gonna drip and run over the edge and drip. And that's why we put that tape on to catch it, but now we're tasked with taking the tape off. So here we go. We're 5 minutes in, and we're still just getting to the second layer of tape on the first one. So I'm gonna jam some tunes, but we'll see you when we're done, whenever that might be. All right, guys. So we're back again. You saw all the little time lapses and footage of cutting it's acrylic clear glass replacement that I use, because I can get a big sheet of it and it's easier to cut than actual glass. It's same price too, so it's not like a cheaper version. It's super clear, and it's not gonna break if anything happens. Well, it shouldn't. Anyway, so Now we've got, so I was showing you with those smaller frames. This is the bigger frame I've got. This is for a 13 by 9. So this is for someone who actually already ordered one. The other ones I'm just making to sell. So we've got that together. We've got the backing board, and it is going to be clear and that sticker is going to come off. Don't worry. So now I put on this little hanger. I like to use screws because little nails suck, and it's more secure. So now I've got a couple of these little pieces that I'm gonna sand and round off, make them round on the edges, so then they will act as the little swivel pieces that lock the back into place. So here's the time lapse for that. And that's the last step. Super excited. All right, I'm on the last one here. I know what you're thinking. Why don't you just use a sander, dude? Because I don't fucking have it with me. Because I had to go out of town to work for a couple days where I did not bring my sander because I did not need it. So that's in the storage unit right now with all my other tools. So I'm using the hand sander, but it was only about 5 minutes, something like that, to do it. So now we got all these little pieces, and now we're gonna connect them to the frame, and that's it, we're done. All right, so basically I'm gonna use screws again. I'm gonna pre-drill them so that it doesn't break these little tiny pieces of wood. And we're just gonna put these along the edges, 2 on each side and on top and bottom. And it's not as thick as the hanger, so it should be fine, but it'll also let it kind of stick out from the wall a little bit too on the bottom, so it won't be like, you know, leaning or whatever, maybe slightly, but yeah. So here we go. This will just hold the glass and everything into place, keep it from popping out. And the reason I'm doing screws and not little tiny nails is because, well, it's my preference and my art, but also, you know, that pressure isn't going to pop those little nails out. So especially once, you know, you swivel it a couple of times. So anyway. All right, guys, so that's it. Now, as you can see here, it doesn't look like it's very clear stuff. That's because there's this protective film layer over it. And what I'm gonna do is keep that on there because, you know, dirty fingerprints, whatever. The guy I made this for has a picture that he's putting in there. So what I'm gonna do is let him just go in and pop this thing off and remove the plastic when he puts the picture in there, because I don't want to give him a dirty frame, you know what I mean? So just a good way to make sure you deliver a good product, you know? I don't want my fingerprints all over this. Although I did make it, you know, so it'd be cool, I guess, if my fingerprints were on it. We got this stuff. This is pretty cool, nice thick stuff. Should Fit nice on here. Boom. Lock those swivels in. Just like that. Boom, boom, boom. And voila. Finally done. And I think, see already, it's like debris and all kinds of crap. But it's gonna look really nice when he hangs it up and gets his picture in there and takes that film cover off. So what I'm gonna do right now is try to find a hanger. There's one. Boom. And I hope to God that thing is in a stud. Otherwise this thing's gonna fall and break. Maybe, I don't know. It's probably pretty strong. So not the best lighting in this hallway here, but here we are. Nice frame. Looks good, hangs good. It's nice and balanced. So now you guys know this particular piece, this frame, I sold to my friend for $150. So yeah, it might seem like a lot for a picture frame. Maybe it doesn't seem like that much. Maybe you guys think I should be charging more. I don't know. Either way, he's a good friend. So, you know, known him a long time. And not everybody is supporting me, you know. So when people are, I like to try and work with them too and see what I can do. And, you know, do a little hookup. And I try to keep my things affordable too, you know, like I want people to have cool stuff like I make. And I've seen some like skateboard bowls on the internet for like $200, you know, which I get. I know what it takes to make this stuff because I make all kinds of stuff. And, you know, it takes a lot of time. It's very time consuming, and it's precious resources. The material, again, is not, you can't just go buy a slab of fucking recycled skateboards. You can go buy dyed laminate plywood, little thin layers, which is exactly how they make skateboards, layered laminate plywood, and layer it together and press it into the shapes of the boards. But you're using new material, you know, which whatever, there's companies that do that and they just use the laminated plywood with different colors and carved down so you can see all the different colors and whatever. It's really cool. But my thing is taking what's already here and giving it another purpose, another life, and reusing things that are already in existence and giving them. And I like to make things with a purpose, you know, that are functional. So obviously this is functional, it's also art, but yeah, so now you know what it takes to make a picture frame from recycled skateboards. And I still got to do the little swivel pieces and sanding for all the rest of the 10 little frames. So I got to get to work. But if you guys enjoyed this, if you found this informative or interesting, whatever, you know, fucking drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more. If you have questions, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. And the other frames are going to be available soon, so if you're interested in picking one up, but don't be mad about the price. All right guys, Blackjack Buck out. Take it easy.